Frank Lampard's jaw in danger after the 2-0 loss to Leicester. The 3 potential replacements for him. A small holdback in the pursuit of Erling Haaland. Chelsea reportedly offer David Alaba a contract. All coming up in today's video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we got another Chelsea transfer news video. And starting off, let's just get straight into it. Frank Lampard. Chelsea lost 2-0 to Leicester last night in a disappointing game. The result kind of floored Chelsea. It shouldn't have been 2-0. It should have been about, I'd say 4-1. Tielemans had a great chance. James Justin had a good chance. Chelsea got very unlucky with Timo Werner's goal, which was disallowed, and Christian Pulisic. He got fouled on the edge of the box, but it was so close to the edge of the box that it could have been mistaken and could have been on the box, meaning that it was a penalty. I don't know who would have taken it. I guess it would have been Tammy, but without Jorginho and Timo Werner, they weren't on the pitch then. So I'm guessing it would have been Tammy or Havertz to take the penalty. But instead it was given as a free kick, which Mason Mount skied over the bar. And with Chelsea now losing 5 games in Lampard's last 8, it's obviously everyone's gonna start questioning Lampard, and people were questioning him before, but it didn't look like Lampard would really leave at that moment in time. But now, after getting battered by a much better Leicester team, everybody in a Leicester shirt, pound for pound, is better than a Chelsea player. Kasper Schmeichel was better than Mendy. James Justin was better than Chilwell. It was just everywhere on the pitch. A Leicester player was better than the Chelsea equivalent. And is that down to Lampard? Is that down to the players? Mason Mount was the only saving grace, I guess. He put in a bit more effort than the rest of the players. He was fighting for everything. Whereas like the likes of Reece James, he's just come back from injury. His defending for the James Maddison goal was atrocious. He was just jogging back, hoping that someone would come and save him, or that James Maddison would miss the ball. I don't know his thought process there. Rudiger started in the team when Kurt Zouma has been our best centre-back in this season. Rudiger is now starting over him for some reason. And lots of fans are questioning Lampard's ability to manage Chelsea. We obviously spent £250 million in the transfer window, and we finished 4th, and now we're in 8th, halfway through the season. We've played every single team now. We still haven't beaten a top 8 team. Now it looks like Lampard is going to be holding crisis talks, who knows what that means, with the hierarchy of the club, Abramovich, just because apparently they're just more than disappointed with him. I think Frank Lampard, if his name wasn't Frank Lampard, he would have been gone 2-3 games ago. But because his name is Frank Lampard and he's got such a good legacy at the club, then I think he's got to be kept for another 2 games. If he loses against Wolves and draws or loses against Burnley, then I think he has to go. It's just up to that. We can't be 8th after spending £250 million. Anyway, the potential replacements for him has been announced. Thomas Tuchel, ex-PSG manager, obviously got sacked. Maurizio Pochettino has replaced him over in Paris. He's probably at the top of the list, and probably top of my list if Lampard was to go. I'm not Lampard out, I'm Lampard in, but something needs to change. Be it the formation, be it a new assistant manager, be it a new backroom staff, something needs to give. We can't be 8th in the Premier League. So yeah, Thomas Tuchel's up there. I think he's probably my first choice if Lampard was to get sacked. Then there's Allegri's won it all over for Juventus, over in Juventus in the last decade. But he doesn't like playing youth players, and that is literally Chelsea's business. It's literally youth players. Mason Mount come through. Without Lampard, Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, Reece James, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Fikayo Tomori, none of those academy graduates would have been able to get into the first team and prove themselves really. And Mason Mount has proved that he's one of our best players. And without Lampard, then he might not be able to process or get any further. Another potential Chelsea manager replacement for Lampard is Andrei Shevchenko. He used to play for Chelsea. He was a massive flop coming in from Milan. I don't remember. I don't think I was a Chelsea fan at the time, but he was a massive flop. He did rubbish coming in for big money, and there's not been a Chelsea striker in my lifetime other than Drogba, who has already proved himself a decade before, that has actually been a first choice Chelsea striker. Diego Costa obviously did well. I guess you could say he was good, but he did have problems. He did miss quite a few chances, but he was clutch and getting some last minute equalisers and winners. But other than that, Morata came in for £16 million. He's been rubbish. Tammy Abraham hasn't really proven himself. Obviously, like I said, Shevchenko, he was awful. But yeah, Abramovich likes the idea of Shevchenko becoming the Chelsea manager. I think he's the Ukraine manager and he's doing a decent job over in Ukraine. So maybe he could be our next manager, but if Lampard does get sacked, I like to wait a couple of weeks until he does get sacked. And if he does, then I'd bring in Tuchel. Brendan Rodgers was obviously linked, but after that performance last night, why would he walk away from Leicester and join Chelsea? Like, why would... He's got a much better team, or much better individuals than Chelsea. Why would he walk away from that and go for a downgrade to Chelsea? It just doesn't... I'd love Brendan Rodgers to be Chelsea manager, but it's not very likely. Okay, I've been rambling on for 10 minutes now. Let's get into the actual transfer news while you're here. Erling Haaland, there might be a little stumble in the pursuit of getting the Norwegian 20-year-old. As his agent, Mino Raiola, Chelsea don't have a very good relationship with him after a fallout when Chelsea were trying to re-sign Romelu Lukaku from Everton. Apparently, Mino Raiola is a bit of a selfish guy. He only sells his players to teams that agree to pay the biggest agent fees, and Chelsea were not willing to pay a very big agent fee, reportedly, for Lukaku, so they fell out with Raiola. And considering Gianluigi Donnarumma is under Mino Raiola as well, they might have to fix their relationship if Chelsea wants to bring in Donnarumma and Erling Haaland. Manchester United also kind of fell out with Mino Raiola over Romelu Lukaku, but they did end up bringing him in. However, he was a massive flop for them. Manchester United are probably the only other Premier League rival to be challenging for Erling Haaland. I don't think Liverpool are going in for him. I could be mistaken. They don't really play with a fast, strong striker. Bobby Firmino goes under the radar, but he does all the passes. He bounces off the passes back to Mane and Salah. Man City, I think they were interested, but Erling Haaland's not really a Pep Guardiola striker. If you look at Pep Guardiola's strikers in recent years, Sergio Aguero, they're short, agile players like Robert Lewandowski for Bayern Munich. Who did they have at Barca? Suarez? Was it Luis Suarez? Who did they have before that? I don't know. Well, a 6'4", massive Norwegian isn't really a Pep Guardiola type striker, and Spurs can't afford him, Arsenal can't afford him. Why would he want to go to Spurs or Arsenal? So Chelsea and Manchester United are the only really Premier League teams going in for Haaland. And with this rubbish run of form, why would Haaland want to join Chelsea anyway? We've lost 5 out of our last 8. Why would he want to join us? He could help it for sure, but he's not going to somewhere to help somewhere. He'd want to step up from Borussia Dortmund, not step down. And lastly, I did report yesterday, David ALABA looks set to be joining Real Madrid at the end of the season after Real Madrid offered him a nice £10 million a year contract for 4 years to the Austrian international. And at the end of the season, obviously he's a free agent, so they'd be bringing him in for free. However, there have been reports that Manchester United, Chelsea and Bayern Munich, Liverpool it might have been, I can't remember, have offered a very nice contract for the Austrian. Alright, it was only Chelsea and Manchester United that have now reportedly offered or made very good offers according to reports in Germany. It did look like ALABA was set to join Real Madrid. It almost seemed as if he'd already agreed their contract, but his father denied any of those, rejected all the allegations about him agreeing a contract with Real Madrid. So you never know, but I don't know why he'd go to Chelsea instead of Real Madrid. He already said a while ago that he'd like his future to be in Spain, and I'd go for Real Madrid over Barcelona after what's happened at the moment. cough. Leo Messi getting his first red card in his career. If you haven't seen what happens, I'll show you a little clip here.
يأتي اليسار محاولة إلى جوردي
Apparently he goes and checks his pulse afterwards to make sure he's not dead. But he's going to be given like a 14 match ban after clouting the Atletico Bilbao player around the head. It wasn't even like a secret, he was just running and boom, out of nowhere. Hook to the back of the, yeah, I don't know. What does he think he is, Anthony Joshua or something? Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on the daily Chelsea transfer news videos. Comment down below who you think the next Chelsea manager should be. Tuchel, Allegri, Brendan Rodgers, Shevchenko, or do you think Lampard should stay? Lampard in or Lampard out? I'm probably 75% Lampard in, 25% Lampard out. Something needs to give though. Something needs to give. Is it the end? I don't think it's the end just yet. But anyway, goodbye.